Whisper Diaries. I'm your host, Natalie, and tonight we're continuing our journey through life's most awkward moments with more relationship mishaps that I hope will both amuse you and help you relax. If you're new here, this is a space where I share whispered stories of life's most relatable moments, the kind that make us cringe at the time, but become our favorite stories to tell later. So get comfortable, dim your lights, and let me share some tales of dating disasters that remind us we're all beautifully human. Our first story tonight is called The Mistaken Proposal. My friend Olivia had been dating Benjamin for about 8 months. Things were going well. They had great chemistry, shared similar values, and had recently started having those casual conversations about future plans that suggest a relationship is heading somewhere serious. For Benjamin's birthday, Olivia planned what she thought would be a memorable surprise. Benjamin had mentioned wanting to try the exclusive rooftop restaurant that had just opened in their city. It required reservations months in advance, but Olivia had connections through her work and managed to secure a table with the perfect view for the evening of his birthday. As an extra special touch, she decided to give him a gift that required some creativity. Benjamin was a watch enthusiast who had been talking about a specific vintage timepiece for months. Olivia had finally found one within her budget, though it still represented a significant investment. She wanted the presentation to be as special as the gift itself. On the night of the dinner, everything was going perfectly. The food was exceptional, the view of the city was spectacular, and Benjamin seemed genuinely touched by the effort Olivia had put into the evening. After their main course, Olivia nodded to the server, who brought over a covered silver dessert tray. "What's this?" Benjamin asked, looking intrigued. "Just a little something special," Olivia said, suddenly feeling nervous about her gift. "Go ahead, lift the cover." When Benjamin removed the dome, instead of dessert, there sat a small velvet box. Olivia had arranged for the watch to be presented this way, thinking it would be a romantic surprise. What she hadn't considered was exactly how this scenario might appear to Benjamin, or to anyone else watching. Benjamin's eyes widened as he stared at the small box. The couple at the next table noticed and began nudging each other excitedly. Before Olivia could explain, Benjamin's face went through a rapid series of expressions: surprise, panic, and then something that looked like reluctant determination. "Olivia," he said, his voice slightly higher than normal. I wasn't expecting. We haven't really talked about." Confused by his reaction, Olivia reached for the box herself and opened it, revealing the vintage watch. "Happy birthday. It's the Omega you've been talking about. I found it at that auction site you mentioned." The relief on Benjamin's face was almost comical. "A watch. It's a watch," he said loudly enough that nearby diners turned to look. "You thought," Olivia began, suddenly understanding. "Did you think I was proposing?" Benjamin's face turned crimson. The fancy restaurant, the special reservation, the little box. It had all the signs. At that moment, the server returned with a cake, sparklers blazing, and several other staff members who had clearly been prepped for what they thought would be a post-proposal celebration. One called out, "Did she say yes?" as they approached. "It's a birthday, just a birthday," Olivia explained hurriedly. her own face now matching Benjamin's in color. The staff looked confused, but pivoted professionally, switching to a birthday song while exchanging glances. For the remainder of the evening, Olivia and Benjamin sat in awkward awareness that half the restaurant thought they had just witnessed a rejected proposal. The other diners would occasionally steal glances at their table, their expressions a mixture of curiosity and sympathy. "I love the watch," Benjamin said earnestly, trying to move past the awkwardness. "It's exactly what I wanted." The drive home was quiet until Benjamin finally started laughing. "We're going to look back at this and find it hilarious someday, aren't we?" Olivia, still mortified, couldn't help but join in the laughter. "Probably. But maybe next time I'll give you gifts in private settings only." The misunderstanding became one of their favorite stories, though Olivia now avoids small velvet boxes for any occasion other than actual proposals. 6 months later, when Benjamin did propose for real, he did it at home with the ring hidden inside a giant, unmistakable cardboard box, just to be absolutely clear about his intentions. Our next story is The Cultural Misunderstanding. Noah had matched with Sophia on a dating app. From her profile, Noah learned that Sophia had moved to the United States from Italy just a year ago. Their initial messages were filled with engaging conversations about cultural differences, food, and travel experiences. After 2 weeks of digital communication, they decided to meet for dinner at a popular local restaurant. Noah, wanting to make a good impression, did some quick research on Italian cultural norms. He read that in many European countries, including Italy, it was common to greet friends and acquaintances with a kiss on each cheek. Wanting to be culturally respectful, Noah decided he would greet Sophia this way when they met. The evening of their date arrived, and Noah spotted Sophia waiting outside the restaurant. She looked just like her profile pictures, stylish with dark hair and a warm smile. Noah approached confidently, prepared to demonstrate his cultural awareness. "Sophia." "Hi, I'm Noah," he said, then leaned in to offer the customary cheek kisses he had read about. What happened next was a comedy of errors. Sophia, surprised by the sudden movement, stepped back slightly. Noah, already committed to the gesture, leaned further forward. Sophia turned her head at exactly the wrong moment, and instead of a cheek kiss, Noah landed an awkward peck directly on her mouth. Both jumped back, Noah mortified and Sophia surprised. "I am so sorry," Noah blurted out. "I was trying to do the Italian greeting with the cheeks, but it went completely wrong." Sophia looked confused for a moment, then began laughing. "First," she explained gently, "that greeting is usually between people who already know each other, not typically for first meetings." Noah wanted to disappear into the sidewalk. "And second," she continued with amusement, "I'm actually from northern Italy, where we're a bit more reserved. My family doesn't really do the cheek kiss thing much. Anyway." The unintentional kiss could have derailed the entire evening, but Sophia was gracious about the misunderstanding. As they entered the restaurant, she explained that she'd been living in America long enough to adapt to the typical handshake greeting, though she appreciated his attempt to respect her culture. The dinner that followed was full of Sophia teaching Noah about the actual regional differences in Italian customs, and Noah sharing his own embarrassing stories of cultural misunderstandings during his limited travels abroad. By dessert, they were laughing comfortably together. Next time you want to learn about a culture, Sophia suggested, maybe don't rely only on quick internet searches. Noah nodded in agreement. Noted. Though I have to admit, this has been the most educational first date I've ever had. They ended up dating for several months, with Sophia eventually introducing Noah to her family through video calls. Her grandmother, upon hearing the story of their first meeting, laughed and said something in rapid Italian that Sophia declined to translate fully, only saying it was complimentary of Noah's enthusiasm, if not his technique. I hope you're enjoying these whispered stories of dating mishaps. If you're finding them both entertaining and relaxing, I would be so grateful if you could like this episode and perhaps leave a comment with your thoughts. I'd love to hear about your own relationship mishaps or any topics you'd like me to explore in future episodes of Whisper Diaries. Your support through engagement helps this podcast grow and allows me to continue creating content that resonates with you. Now, let's continue with our next relationship disaster story. Our third story is the workplace secret. Ethan and Isabella worked for the same large technology company, but in different departments. They met at the company holiday party, spent the evening talking, and quickly discovered a strong mutual attraction. They began dating, but made a conscious decision to keep their relationship private at work. Their company didn't have explicit rules against employee relationships, but both wanted to avoid workplace gossip and maintain professional reputations. This secrecy added a certain thrill to their relationship. They would take separate cars to work, avoid each other in the company cafeteria, and maintain purely professional communication through company channels. Outside of work, however, they were inseparable, spending nearly every evening and weekend together for 3 months. The charade was working perfectly until the company announced a team-building retreat. All departments would attend a weekend workshop at a resort about 2 hours from the city. There would be professional development sessions, but also social activities and shared accommodations. Ethan and Isabella realized this presented a significant challenge to their secret, but they were confident they could maintain their professional distance for 1 weekend. They carefully coordinated their stories, planned to minimize interaction, and even rehearsed how to act like casual acquaintances. The retreat started smoothly. During Friday's sessions, they participated in separate group activities and maintained their distance during meals. That evening featured a company cocktail hour where they exchanged only brief collegial conversation while others were watching. By Saturday morning, they were feeling confident in their ability to maintain the charade. The day's main activity was a scavenger hunt, designed to encourage cross-departmental teamwork. To their relief, they were placed on different teams. Each team was given a list of tasks to complete around the resort property and sent off in different directions. Isabella's team finished their tasks early and returned to the main hall. Ethan's team was still completing their scavenger hunt when the resort experienced an unexpected power outage. With activities paused, people began gathering in the main lobby where emergency lighting was available. Concerned when she didn't see Ethan among the returning participants, Isabella checked her personal phone and saw a text from him. stuck in elevator between floors 3 and 4. Maintenance working on it. Don't worry, while power outages weren't in the company's team-building plan, they provided an excellent opportunity for employees to demonstrate grace under pressure. The company executives were impressed by how everyone remained calm and supportive. Isabella, however, was finding it difficult to maintain her composure. After 20 minutes with no updates, her concern for Ethan overwhelmed her desire for secrecy. She approached the resort manager. "Any update on the elevator situation?" she asked, trying to sound casually concerned. "Maintenance is working on it," the manager assured her. "We've been in communication with the guest inside, and he's doing fine." "Guest? There's only one person in there?" Isabella asked, surprised. "Yes, just one of your colleagues. He's being very patient." Without thinking through the implications, Isabella blurted out, "Can I talk to him? He must be scared. He's terrified of small spaces." The manager looked confused. "How did you know it was a he? And about his claustrophobia?" Suddenly aware of her mistake, Isabella stumbled over her words. "I just assumed. Someone mentioned." The manager, now suspicious, handed her the emergency phone that was connected to the elevator. On speakerphone, in the crowded lobby, where at least 30 colleagues had fallen silent, watching with interest. "Ethan, it's me. Are you okay?" Isabella said before she could stop herself. There was a pause before Ethan's voice came through the speaker, echoing in the now silent lobby. "Isabella, why are you on the emergency line?" She realized her mistake immediately, but couldn't back out now. "I was worried. I know how you feel about small spaces." Another pause. "How do you know that? We barely know each other." Ethan was trying to maintain their cover story, unaware that Isabella had already compromised it. "Ethan, I think the secret's out. I may have shown a bit too much concern for someone who's supposedly just a colleague." The silence from the elevator was deafening. Then came Ethan's resigned voice. "Well, at least I don't have to face everyone right away. Could someone please get this elevator working so I can hide in my room for the rest of the retreat?" And the lobby erupted in laughter, followed by a chorus of supportive comments and good-natured teasing. By the time Ethan was rescued 30 minutes later, their secret relationship had become the highlight of the company retreat. To their surprise, nobody seemed particularly shocked or concerned. In fact, several colleagues admitted they had suspected something for weeks based on the way you two carefully avoid looking at each other in meetings. The company's HR director even joked during Sunday's closing session about the retreat's unexpected bonding opportunities. While not the way they had planned to go public, the elevator incident removed the stress of secrecy from their relationship. They discovered that being open about their connection actually improved their work experience, and both continued to advance in their careers despite, or perhaps because of, their infamous elevator revelation. Our final story tonight is the name confusion. Liam had been using dating apps for several months with limited success when he matched with Grace, whose profile suggested they had several common interests. Their conversation flowed naturally, and after a week of messaging, they decided to meet for coffee. The coffee date went exceptionally well. Grace was intelligent, funny, and even more attractive in person than in her profile pictures. They discovered several mutual friends and shared a similar sense of humor. When Liam suggested dinner the following weekend, Grace agreed enthusiastically. For their dinner date, Liam chose a popular restaurant downtown. When he arrived, he spotted Grace already seated at a table. She waved and smiled as he approached. The evening started wonderfully. They ordered drinks, shared appetizers, and continued the easy conversation they'd established during their first meeting. About halfway through the main course, Grace mentioned something about growing up in Colorado. Liam looked confused. "I thought you said you were from Florida." Grace shook her head. "No, I've never even been to Florida. I grew up in Boulder." Liam felt a moment of uncertainty. "Didn't you say you studied marine biology in Miami?" "Marine biology?" Grace laughed. "I'm terrified of the ocean. I studied architecture at Colorado State." Now thoroughly confused, Liam tried to reconcile these conflicting details. "But last week you told me about your research on coral reefs." Grace put down her fork, looking equally puzzled. "Liam, we never discussed coral reefs. We talked about sustainable building materials, remember?" There was an awkward pause as Liam frantically reviewed their previous conversations in his mind. "At the coffee shop last Saturday," he ventured cautiously. Grace's expression shifted from confusion to realization. "Our first date was on Sunday, not Saturday." In that mortifying moment, Liam understood what had happened. He had gone on coffee dates with two different women on consecutive days, both brunettes with similar profiles, and had completely confused which was which. The woman he had met on Saturday was indeed a marine biologist from Florida named Emily. The woman sitting across from him now, Grace, was an architect from Colorado, whom he had met on Sunday. Worse still, he had genuinely enjoyed both dates and had asked both women to dinner, then somehow merged them into a single person in his mind. "I think I need to explain something," Liam said, his face burning with embarrassment. With painful honesty, he confessed his mistake, explaining how he had conflated the two different coffee dates. Grace was silent for a long moment, then began to laugh. "So you're telling me you're currently two-timing me with someone you think is me?" Liam nodded miserably. "I'm supposed to have dinner with Emily tomorrow night, but I thought she was you." I thought you were the same person. I'm not normally this disorganized, I promise." Rather than being offended, Grace found the situation hilarious. "This is definitely a new one," she said. "I've been ghosted before, but I've never been merged with another woman into some kind of architecture marine biology hybrid." Liam offered to call off the other date and apologized profusely, but Grace had a different suggestion. "You should keep the date with Emily," she said, "but you have to tell her exactly what happened, and then you have to text me her reaction." It was not the outcome Liam had expected. The dinner with Grace continued pleasantly, though she occasionally teased him by making references to marine life. True to his word, Liam met Emily the following night and confessed his confusion immediately. To his surprise, Emily was equally amused by the situation. Both women insisted he keep them updated on how dates with the other were going, creating what Liam described as the most transparent dating situation in history. After a few more dates with each woman, it became clear that Liam and Grace had more compatible personalities. When he and Grace became exclusive a month later, Emily sent them both a congratulatory card featuring coral reefs and architectural blueprints merged into a single design. As I bring this episode to a close, I hope these whispered tales of dating mishaps have brought you both amusement and relaxation. These stories remind us that in the complicated world of modern dating, we're all just doing our best, making mistakes, and hopefully finding humor along the way. The mistaken proposals, cultural misunderstandings, workplace reveals, and identity confusions are part of what makes our search for connection so wonderfully human. Before we part ways for tonight, I want to thank you for spending this time with me. If you've enjoyed these whispered tales of relationship disasters, please consider liking this episode and leaving a comment sharing your thoughts. I'd love to hear about your own dating mishaps or any topics you'd like me to explore in future episodes of Whisper Diaries. Your engagement truly helps this podcast grow and allows me to continue creating content you enjoy. In our next episode, we'll explore new territories with fresh stories to both amuse and soothe you. Perhaps you have suggestions, a particular life experience you'd like to hear whispered about. I'm always open to your ideas and appreciate your input in shaping future content. Remember that even our most embarrassing dating moments make us who we are, teaching us valuable lessons about connection, communication, and ourselves. Thank you for listening to Whisper Diaries. This is Natalie, wishing you peaceful dreams, filled with quiet laughter, and I look forward to sharing more stories with you very soon.